Hello, my little goblins and ghouls. We have it finally. Branded Fusion in all the new Despia cards. We have the Mirror Jade. We have the Lebellion. Things are looking good for Despia. I think the deck is insanely strong already. Is it going to be tier 1? I think so. I actually think it's going to be a tier 1 deck. I think it's going to compete with the best of them. So what do we have here? So when I was creating this deck, I was looking at meta-analysis of tournaments that have been played around the world using Yugioh Pro deck, and I seen that a lot of the most kind of recent ones are playing going second lists, or they're playing some weird variant. I wanted to keep it like kind of pure with the branded Despia, just for the first video, just so you guys, I feel like this is very sought after. And a lot of people try and find this type of deck. So we'll have the weird variations in the future. With this deck, like I said, a lot of people have been making this going second list. Because it kind of makes sense. Fallen of Albaz, very good going second. Super Poly, very good going second. And those cards are standard in the deck no matter what. We just added the extra Forbidden Droplet and Dark Rulers just so we can break boards. Now, what does this deck do very well? This deck breaks boards very well. I'm going to tell you that right now. It's very easy to break boards. It's actually hilarious to do. And it actually can kill people very, very easily as well. Because when you have a bunch of fusions that all have like 25 to 3,000 attack, you tend to finish off your opponent pretty quick. But you know how we do this. We're going to show the video content. You guys are going to see the games. And at the end, I'm going to do a review of the deck and what I think about it. Is this the best version of Despia? I don't know. It's too early to tell. This is what I came up with. This is what we have. I put a very tiny Shadal package because with Branded Fusion, we could easily go into Shadal Winda. But you need to have a light Shadal to do it. So Chaos is the one we go with. You're not really going to use its secondary effect, unfortunately. Not too good. But other than that, I think the deck is pretty solid. Just looking at it, we did make some edits. We had Predaplant Verte in here, but we didn't really use it at all. So we just took it out. I think Verte is probably good in the list if you plan on putting in a bunch of different engines in here. So if you're going to put DPE and all these other engines, I think Verte does kind of make sense because it does let you search for the Destiny Fusion and stuff like that. But I think for this current list, you have 3 Aliburs, which can search out the Branded Fusion, and I think that's fine enough. You pretty much have 6 Branded Fusions in the deck, assuming Alibur doesn't get, negated like it always does for me. But yeah, let's get into the games and we'll see how this goes. Hello, we are here for game number 1, and we're playing against Eldlich. So everyone, I think it's a class favorite. Everyone just loves Eldlich, especially the 4 back row set. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. We're going with the Branded Fusion. And he's going to just special summon Eldlich. So just to give you an idea, when people special summon Eldlich like this, it means they have traps. They have their traps back here that are going to mess with either our graveyard or start popping cards on our field. So we activate our Albion. He's going to try and banish Albion. At this moment, I was thinking to myself, well, I can go into Lebellion, or I can just go into Mirror Jade, because he only has 1 monster in the field. So I just decided to just go into Mirror Jade. So to save my Albion, I just send it to the graveyard, because I need actually a dark monster if I want to go into Mirror Jade. So, not a dark, sorry, I need a fusion. So here he summons Conquistador. Mirror Jade, I just I don't think he realized how good Mirror Jade is, because Mirror Jade's affects quick play, right? So he just banishes Eldlich before it goes off. We go into a second Albion. He tries to summon Eldlich again, and we just completely eviscerate his entire board. He does have Conquistador and Sanguine, so he'll be able to rebuild. But we're going to be able to chunk him for quite a bit right here. The only thing I do regret here is I regret not discarding this Imp Chain, because I could have got a Fright for Patchwork for a few polymerization. Now I'm pretty much sitting with it in my hand. I should be able to get it, though, for discarding to Albaz's effect. Alright, so our back row is going to be golden. And then Conquistador is going to set that Sanguine. And we attack with that Mirror Jade. So, if you don't realize how bad our opponent just fucked up, I'm going to give you guys 2 seconds to understand why our opponent messed up here. 1, 2. Write down in the comments what our opponent did to mess up. So, when you summon Paleozoic, it is an Aqua. That means he cannot activate his Sanguine now. Me seeing this, I'm like, okay, bet, let me just kill this motherfucker. He summons Hakiro. Boom. And then I can activate Super Poly from this position. Because I know he cannot activate Sanguine. He has no other cards. I'm like, boom, I can pop with Starving. So this... if he did not do that, I would not be able... I guess if he didn't do that, I wouldn't been... Like, he wouldn't have had the extra blocker, so he's screwed either way. But, yeah. If you're playing... No, there's a right way to do it. No, he could have lived. Because he couldn't activate it. He was afraid of Mirror Jade. That's what it was. He didn't want me Mirror Jading the Lash Eldlich because he would have just lost. So I guess he was just screwed regardless. That was a pretty dominant performance. All right, guys. We're here for game number 2. And our hand is looking pretty good. And it might not, like, if you looked at this, you might not think it's that good. We have Dark Ruler. We have Droplet. A little redundant, but one or the other is fine. We have Patchwork and we have Brand Opening. Our opponent's playing some weird Despia Eldlich deck. But their board is pretty strong. They have 3 back row, they have Eldlich, and they have Mirror Jade. Pretty annoying. So we're going to start the game off with our Patchwork. Get our cards out of the deck. Now we can Brand Opening. And we are going to save some cards. Because remember, we're going to have to discard the Brand Opening anyway. We get rid of Brand Opening so we can just negate the Mirror Jade so we don't have to deal with it on our turn. Shit's annoying. So here we get into Aliber. He's going to go for the Imperm. I'm not going to let him Imperm. We got the Super Poly. This is a perfect because he has a light dark. It's a perfect Despia Prozenic. So he's gonna be in a rough spot. We're looking to OTKO our opponent, though, because when Mirror Jade goes to the graveyard or when it just leaves the battlefield, it has an effect where it blows up my entire board at the end of my phase. So it's almost like Absolute Zero from Heroes, except it's not immediate. It's at the end of the phase. So if you're wondering why I did not protect this, is because I knew he was going to send Elder Entity to the graveyard, and I'd rather protect the Prozenician than this Lubian that's coming out. I mean, than the Albion. So Tragedy is going to grab a card. I mean, our opponent's putting up a good fight. They're playing the deck correctly. I mean, they're playing their cards right. But we're just pumping out too much. And man, the animation on this looks fucking insane, right? That looks so cool. This is a rookie mistake, but I don't read, and I know you guys as Yu-Gi-Oh players, you don't read the cards either. I should have summoned the Tis. We're gonna have lethal regardless, because we have the Fairy Tale Snow. But he could only have one Mirror Jade Ice Dragon on the field at a time. So me resurrecting it just made it die immediately. So he summons Conquistador. You can just delete it from the field. We have like exact lethal regardless, because I had Snow, and that's another powerhouse about Snow. Snow's very versatile in what it can do. The Snow has won me so many games so far. It's kind of nuts. All right, guys, we're here for game number 3, and I'm fucking hard as shit. I'm kidding. Hey yo, we're playing against Sword Soul. So he has Protoss in hand. Naturally, of course they do. They always do. Why not? He goes into Yugioh. Okay. Are we going to be seeing the new Sword Soul card? I feel like everyone's going to be playing that card, even though it's like good, but it's not better than going to Baron, right? Like, would you rather go into Baron or this? I'd rather play against the fucking new card. And he goes into the new card. I'd rather play against this any day. Like, yes, it's a lot of damage it does, but it's not a negate. So that's the big thing. So at this point, we have double called by, which is actually kind of like deceptively good against at least this field, because this field's ass, right? I'm being kind of mean right now. This field's ass, dude. There's no... He doesn't have Baron. It's like, why? I have the Branded Opening, so if he ends up having a blackout, like... And you know they always naturally have the blackout, right? If he ends up having a blackout, we have a stop for it. He's going to be able to banish my Aliber. But guess what? Aliber's effect still goes off. Oh, wait. He doesn't have blackout. It's called by... That's triggering. But Aliber's effect still goes off. So I'm still going to be able to get Branded Fusion. Whereas I would be in deep shit if that shit was not. If that was, what do you call it? Baron de Fleur? I'd have a tough time right now. So we're going to Coratus because he still hasn't used this negate yet. And I want a Branded Fusion into an Albion so I can just one-shot my opponent. So Coratus is a very easy way of doing that, right? It's going to make his monsters go to 0. He's not going to want that to happen. So boom. Now I can Branded Fusion. Again, I feel like this guy thinks this negates. It doesn't negate. I'm still going to be able to Fusion. Like that card is good against... It's good against things like Adventurer, because you'll be able to banish the effect of their Fateful Adventure, right? You'll be able to banish whatever. I think you can banish the token too. Like it's good against that, but like against like our deck, it's not going to really do much. But yeah, GG. No read. All right, guys, we're here for game number 4, and I was debating whether or not to show this game, because I made mistakes galore in this. And it was really one just massive mistake. Or I think it was like 2. It was like 2 massive mistakes. And I just don't really care. You guys can see it. I make mistakes all the time. We're human, right? This is a new deck. You know? Well, I mean, it's not new, but it's kind of new. What is that? I think there's I think dogs are howling right now. That's kind of weird. Kind of threw me off. I'm sorry about that. You might think I'd re-record that, but I'm not. So Branded Opening is going to be coming out. I actually recorded this twice because I forgot to record the audio once, so I'm kind of delirious. So we're gonna Call by the Grave. I'm actually just trying to bait out the Baron effect, but he's not using it. He's not biting the dust. So that's fine. We get Aliber. So here's a good play I actually do. Here's a good play, not a mistake. So we Droplet, we get rid of Aliber so you can't negate it anymore, and now we can use our Droplet to just get rid of the Baron, right? So now Baron's negate's not going to be relevant anymore. We get our Branded Fusion. Branded Fusion is going to allow us to go into the Albion. I have a feeling this is Blackout. I'm pretty sure it is. But Lubellion's going to activate its effect. It's blackout. We do protect our monsters because we do have the branded opening. Our opponent probably doesn't realize that. So I guess that was... I guess he had to use it regardless, right? I mean, what else is he going to be doing? We end up going into Masquerade Dragon. You know what? I know you guys sat with that pause with me. Actually, not a misplay. I'm just an idiot. For some reason, I thought Lubellion could still attack, just not directly. Nope, my attacks were right. So, I'm just so dumb. Dude, maybe it's because I've been recording and trying to do this for the past fucking 3 hours. But, I'm just going delirious. Alright, so... What you just seen there, by the way, while I was talking... yeah. So, if my opponent was able to go into Boxia or something, I felt like I was going to instantly lose this game because he would have been able to grab Moye, and if he had another card in his hand, which he did, I'm pretty sure we've seen before, I'm pretty sure he had a card in his hand, but if he ended up just drawing a card from his hand, I feel like we were just going to be screwed. Because it could have gone to Boxia. Boxia could have special summoned Moye, and then he could have just full comboed me and just wiped my board out. This way, he would have to have some type of follow-up. I knew the chance of him having a follow-up was extremely low, and I was willing to take the risk. We draw a Droplet, which is an insanely good draw for us. Actually, just insanely good. Our opponent ends up top-decking the Moye, and look, Moye activates. So, we Droplet the Moye. And now we can just finish our opponent because this is exactly 800. Boom. Goes the dynamite. Thank you, Jesus. I'm crazy. Hello, guys. We're here for the final game before the recap. And our opponent just set a card. And our hand's pretty good. I would even go as far as saying it's a little bussin'. He's going to maxi us, which is a little triggering. But I think it's safe to say, since we're going into Lubellion, and we get effect failure. So that's a little triggering here. But nope. I actually can dodge it. So we use Brandon in red to fuse away the Lubellion. And those 3 cards are going to Guardian Chimera. So now, the problem with doing this play that I'm doing, right, is normally when you go into Guardian Chimera, like I would say 99% of the time, this is what you need to do. Okay? When you go into Guardian Chimera, you need to have some type of follow-up where you can chain block Guardian Chimera. So you need to have like an Ad Libitum or a, I guess in this case, a Tragedy. Like a Despian Tragedy, so you can block it. Or even the Edge Chain Imp, right? Because this is a problem now. He can Ash Blossom me. Now I miss out on 2 draws and a card destruction effect. So now I'm in kind of like deep shit, right? So we're going to fight for Patchwork. I'm going to go for attacking. Well, I guess I'm doing a bunch of weird shit first. Now, we can only deal as that much damage, unfortunately. And now it looks like we might be screwed. Because our opponent has Imperm. Like, kind of annoying. Like, we got Max Seed, we got Effect Veiled, we got Ash, we got Impermed. And our opponent's an idiot and plays Faithful Adventure in the same row as the Imperm. So, I guess we're both stupid. I mean, the good thing here is the Guardian Chimera, right? This Guardian Chimera is actually protected. It can't be targeted because of the polymerization is in the graveyard. So as long as the poly's in the graveyard, that's why people usually run the Fright Fur to begin with. So this Boxia can't target the Guardian Chimera, and I think he didn't realize that. So he ends up just bouncing that back. And unfortunately, it looks like our opponent's going to have pretty much everything that you could want in the sun. Yep, we go into Chen Yang. Chen Yang doesn't target. Then we go into Yangzing. And unfortunate. And then he goes to the Basil Rouge shoot. Can we actually come back from this? Only the Lord will know. We're taking 2,900. We're locked out from light. And we top deck Super Poly, which is actually not too bad. We can get Starving Venom. Is this enough damage? Nope, he has the 9 pillars. So we're just butt fucked. So, is what it is. We just lose the game here. And sometimes you gotta show some humility. And I sure show a lot of it. Alright, we're here for the recap. Let's go over how this deck did. Do you guys think it performed well? Well, you'd be right, because the deck's insane. The only thing I'd replace in this deck, I would actually get rid of Chaos. I would get rid of Winda. Never fucking used it. Instead, +1, +1, +1, like this. I would say do that, and I think the list is pretty fucking good. We pretty much won most of our games. I'd say we had like a 75% win rate, and this was in high plat. So that tells you something. And remember, this is like the beginning of the season, so we're playing against the sweatiest tryhards that you can possibly fucking run into. Like, I'm talking about, like, these people have like the swampiest ass, probably like me, that you would ever see, and they are trying very hard. Like, I don't think I played against a single deck that was not like a tier 1 or like competitive, like insanely competitive deck. I did not play against like any rogue decks, if that's what you're wondering. The only deck I would say that was like, I guess, rogue was the Despia Eldlich deck. Again, they're playing insanely good cards though, right? Like, no one's gonna argue, okay, those cards are weak. But yeah, the deck performed really well. Kind of expected. Tier list, I think this deck I think the archetype, I'm going to rate the archetype rather than this deck, because I think this deck performed probably around a 9, right? Which is probably one of the highest scores I gave it. But I'm going to say on the archetype as a whole, I think it's like a 9.5 right now. Like currently, I think it's like insanely good. I think if you're playing against this, and you're playing against that a lot, a card that you're going to see a lot. So this card is going to be very, very good against Despia. And I think you're going to see a lot more of it. And I don't have any crafted, so I'm kind of sad about it. But other than that, you guys can try making versions of the deck where you're not built to go second. But like I said, I think going second is like a natural fit with the deck. Because again, you got the super polys, you got the droplets, you got the Dark Rulers. All cards performed very well. And like I said, I already showed you what to cut out of the deck that you can cut. It's 100%. I don't even question this shit. It's a tier 1 deck. It's not tier 0 though. I'm going to tell you right now. This deck's definitely beatable. It's definitely beatable. It's not tier 0. It's definitely tier 1. And I'm kind of curious. I'm interested to see all the other variants that end up coming out with this. I am probably in the future going to play with some of the traps. I was interested in, there's a YouTuber / very good Yu-Gi-Oh player named Pak. You guys probably know him. He did have a version where he was using Branded Sword. I think that's freaking hilarious. Banish as many branded spells from your trap. Special summon tokens, and then you just beat the shit out of them with tokens. I think that's a funny way of executing someone. Because you have to remember too that Albion lets you search a spell and trap, and you can Albion goes to the graveyard, like you mirror jade your opponent on their turn, And then you can Albion Branded Sword onto your turn. And then you could finish him off that way. I think that's pretty cool. There's a lot of different variants that you can do with this deck too. So I'm pretty excited about it. Let me know in the comments what you guys want to see next. I know there's so many decks I need to do updates on. I know the Ghost Trick, they got the Link Monster finally. Took so long to get. Blue Eyes, they got the Jet. I'm surprised there's some Blue Eyes cards I was surprised we didn't get though. So the Blue Eyes, I'm not 100% sure when we're going to be doing that. Sword Soul, we can do an update on that. There's a lot of different ones. Let me know in the comments what you guys are expecting to see. And maybe I can move things up if things get some support. All right, goodbye, guys.